Mike Edwards is a man who knows all about home improvement horror stories. He's known as the DIY Doctor and runs a website and a team to help people fix their problems. Good afternoon, Mike.
Oh, hiya, how you doing?
Well, I'm fine. I've got a bit of a sore shoulder, Mike, but apart from that, I'm fine. I've reached the age of 44 on Friday, and I don't know how to wire a plug. Am I in the minority?
I don't think you are these days, no. I think that the emphasis has shifted from hands-on approach to, we're taught IT from a very early age these days, and everybody's going down the computer route, and there aren't that many guys left that are willing to get their hands dirty and do this sort of stuff.
Everything comes with a plug on anyway. I remember about 25 years ago, if you went down to Dixon's on the high street and bought a fridge, you had to put the plug on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all moulded stuff now, and the idea is that it's going to keep you a lot safer, and it won't just pull off when you get the plug trapped behind the washing machine or something,
Are you noticing, maybe this isn't your area of speciality, Mike, but are you noticing because white goods and electrical goods are so cheap nowadays, for example, you can get a washing machine for about 170 quid, then people are more inclined to actually just throw them away after 3 years of use and then just buy something for a couple of £100 rather than get them repaired?
Oh no, that's definitely a trend. And I mean, I know this personally. We've had a couple of appliances. I've been to see customers that have had problems, and we've looked at this, that, and the other. And one of the things that they've said is, "Oh, by the way, do you do washing machines? It doesn't work anymore." And I've said to them, we know a guy that does. And in two instances, fairly recently, the guy said, "Well, listen, the part and the labour is going to cost you more than a new machine." It really is as simple as that.
So does that mean that people who go out to repair, I mean, is that industry dying out? I mean, if everything is just disposable, I mean, I wouldn't like to be a dishwasher repairman.
Well, I think it's a question of specialisation, that if you've got a company, an appliance maintenance company that specialise in a certain type of machine, they will carry circuit boards and they will carry programmers and this sort of stuff. So switching one for the other is not such a difficult job. So there's an awful lot in a washing machine or a dishwasher or fridge or whatever that can be replaced. But, when the major stuff goes, then, it's not so much the parts, I guess. It's the time and that they have to charge to repair it. And they're being perfectly fair to the customer to say, listen, I can repair it. It's going to cost you 205 quid. And you get a 6-month warranty on the part, or you can go and buy a new one and get an extended warranty for 2 years for the same money. What choice have you got?
Of course. Do you get what you pay for, Mike, in domestic goods, do you think?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that there is a tendency to throw things together a little more quickly these days, but it's a kind of supply and demand thing again, isn't it? That the greater the demand, the quicker they've got to react, and that means the quicker they're going to get thrown together. And I say thrown, I mean put together. But, I think in general, you do get what you pay for, but there are appliances out there that are going to cost you an arm and a leg, but they do the job. There's no question about that. So it's pretty much the same in any industry that, if you're careful, you get what you pay for, but it's just the same as DIY. If you don't do some research, then you're going to land in trouble.
Well, which is what happened to this couple in Manchester who they nearly burnt their home to the ground after fitting a hot tub. Did you read that?
I did.
Yeah, overheated the decking and the wood surrounding the tub caught fire. I mean, what went wrong, or is that too simplistic a question?
Well, I can't really tell what went wrong, but there's wiring to pumps and things involved, so something could have short-circuited. It really is a question of not, the only thing that you can say for certain that they did was not install it properly, or it was faulty in the first place. So, they're the only two options really, and not installing something correctly in the first place is usually, I mean, we call it user error, obviously. It is generally the cause of most of the home improvement accidents.
Right. What are the most common home improvement accidents, Mike, on your website, DIY Doctor?
That's a kind of seasonal thing. In the winter, it's most certainly people trying to mend their own central heating and flooding everywhere, not understanding how the system works, disconnecting. I mean, one of the real common ones is a really simple one. On a lot of radiators, you've got a valve that simply turns on and off. That's called a lock shield valve. And on the other side, you've got a thermostatically controlled valve. You can see, the big clunky one with the numbers on. Well, on a lot of those, you can turn them down to 0, but they're not actually off. 0 is a frost setting, and people think that the valve turns itself on when the water in the radiator reaches a certain temperature. That's not actually the case. It's the temperature in the room. And if the temperature in the room drops considerably, the valve will open all on its own. It senses that temperature. So there are a number of valves on the market that people put onto a frost setting, and especially in the winter, the room drops below that temperature and the valve turns itself off. Now, if turns itself on, if they've taken that radiator off to decorate, for example, and we get lots of this, the radiator's turned itself on, but of course the valve's turned itself on, there's no radiator for the water to flow into, so it flows all over your floor.
And also, unexpected bills as well, because you would be, that radiator would be turning itself on quite frequently when you thought it was off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what about, we always used to have to bleed this one radiator all the time, Mike. Maybe once every 10 days, and none of the other radiators. Why would that be?
Well, it's probably the end of the line, and the air has filtered its way down, and it's trapped itself at the top of the system. And of course, air won't. It's a different pressure. It won't heat the same as the water, and it won't allow the water to pass on through the next rad. So you need to bleed that air out. But there's either some sludge in the system that's trapping the air. There are a number of reasons for that, but it's a good idea just to flush it out and check the system.
And investing in a new boiler, or is that a false economy? Because they can be thousands, can't they?
Yeah, they can. I mean, there's a rule now that if you have got an older type boiler and you need a new one, then you have to have a condensing boiler. That everything's about efficiency these days, and quite rightly so. I think that we've wasted so much heat through inefficient heating systems. So a good boiler, and again, Danny, it just boils down to research. You really need to speak to 2 or 3 engineers, get prices, do your own research, go on to, there's so many, the Gas Safe website or whatever, there are so many places that you can find valuable information. If you're in any doubt, you can go on to, for example, the forum on DIY Doctor. We get 40,000 people a week on there. And you can just ask the question, and either one of the trades will come along, or somebody who's had this problem before. There's nothing new under the sun. If you've got a problem and you air it, then somebody will come along and help you.
These forums as well, Mike, they must be harmful to the trade as well. If someone can find out within a couple of clicks and 5 minutes of talking to someone online about how to, this is so simplistic, but to bleed a radiator, or to rewire a plug, or to get that boiler working, then all of a sudden there's no need to call an engineer out. A lot of people go to forums first, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of the beast, and I think trades expect that. But, there are... The thing is that, unfortunately, there's also a great many television programs that show people plastering ceilings in 10 minutes and decorating entire houses in 4 days and this sort of stuff, And the general opinion is that because it's on a forum and it's on the telly, then it must be easy. So we're going to have a go. But what they don't show you is that engineer or that plasterer or that decorator, whatever, has been practicing his craft for, 20 years or something, and they make it look easy. So it's a testimony to them that it looks so easy. But that isn't to say that a lot of DIY is common sense. I mean, before I started DIY 15 years ago, I ran a building company for 25 years, and 3/4 of our work was putting right, as you said at the top of the show, was putting right work that people had tried to do themselves. And it was heartbreaking because, you must know yourself that you set out to do something well and you think it's fairly simple, and you end up making a complete mess of it, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. So we went from sort of poacher to gamekeeper, if you like, and we set up the website to help these guys, and the website's run by 13 tradesmen, and all we do is help people, with the problems that they've got.
And do you charge for your service, do you?
No, we don't. That's completely free.
So it's all to do with traffic and advertisements?
Yeah, exactly. The traffic is huge, 250,000 people a month on the website. Wow. And so we sell some advertising. We've also got a tool store, so we help users get the right tool for the right job. They'll come to us and they'll say they want to buy this huge saw or whatever, and I'll say, well, actually, you could probably get away with this one, which is 50 quid cheaper.
Do you know what? You sound like one of the voiceover guys. Right tool for the right job. Do it right first time, every time.
Perhaps that's a new avenue for me. Then I'll have to look into that one. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, final question. When you were a builder for 25 years, did anyone ever knock you? Any punter ever not pay you?
Do you know what? We just had a conversation about that this morning.
What
yes,
happened?
I did. We got knocked once, and there was a guy, a very, very rich guy, and it was quite obvious why he was rich because he never paid anybody. And we did a huge job for them, a brand new roof, and we put the roof on, and I think it was about $8,000 or something he owed us at the end, and he made a billion excuses not to pay, and we gave him all I went to see my lawyer, and he told me the process I had to go through, send them letters to say, you've got 14 days to pay, etc., etc., etc. And then we kind of came to the end of our tether. I went to see the lawyer again, and I said, listen, as far as I'm concerned, he's had products from me that he hasn't paid for, therefore they're still mine. So we went and took the roof off again.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, absolutely. But what we're not allowed to do legally is take the felt from underneath those tiles so that it might cause damage to his home.
And was he there when he took the roof off?
Yeah.
And
we got paid about 2 days later, but then of course it came back to bite me because we had to put the roof back. So
because those were the days when you'd send a couple of lads round as well, Mike. You must have really bided your time with this character.
Well, the thing is that once you do stuff like that, it's you that's in the wrong, and we just couldn't afford the brand. If you like, the brand couldn't afford to be in the wrong, so we had to do things properly. But it's not unknown for people to go around and threaten. That isn't unknown, and you can kind of understand it. There are horror stories. There's one horror story about a guy who he got knocked for quite a lot of money, and they went to court, and the solicitor said that it was unlikely he was going to get his money because he had made one minor error in the middle of the job, so he was going to have to wait a long time for his money, and he lost it completely and actually shot the customer that he was working for. He flipped completely, and he ended up being sent to prison, and while he was in prison he hung himself. So there are just as many cowboy consumers out there as there are cowboy builders.
Mike, thank you for your time. DIY Doctor, we'll speak again. All the best.
Thank you very much.